Appraisal of the market value of virtual property in online games. My name is Chen Shiqi from Faculty of Law, UKM. Online game virtual property refers to the virtual items, currencies, accounts, and so on created or obtained by players in online games. Although these virtual properties exist in the digital environment, they have real value for players. With the popularity of online games, the number of offenses against virtual property in online games is also increasing. One of the keys to crime control is the determination of the market value of a virtual property in online games, which in turn determines the amount of money involved in the offense and helps the procuratorate and the courts to convict and sentence criminal suspects. However, there has not yet been a uniform way to determining the value of virtual property in Chinese judicial practice, which has led to the existence of different decisions in the same or similar cases, with large difference in the convictions and the sentences handed down by the courts in respect of such offense. Professor Yang Lingxin believes that the essence of virtual property is a kind of electromagnetic record that exists in the virtual world and can be used to determine the value by applying the existing property evaluation standards, which can be seen as an affirmation of its property attributes. Professor Peng Xiaohui and Professor Zhang Guangzhong define virtual property from the perspective of illegal acquisition of virtual property, which may bear criminal or civil liability, depending on the degree, and the act of acquiring other people's virtual property without lawful means belongs to the act of illegally intruding into and acquiring Internet users' information in criminal law, and the act of illegally acquiring, collecting, and processing citizens' personal information in civil law, and analyzing the virtual property from the perspective of this viewpoint. Hu Xianhua and Zhao Yubing classify virtual property in online games into three categories. First, the median connecting virtual space and the real space. For example, the game account of online game consumers. The second is the general equivalent they can make on payment transactions in online games. For example, the virtual currency in games. And the third one is the items obtained by gameplay. For example, leveling up and achieve the mission. Ouyang Benqi believes that virtual property, such as digital currency, has economic value, and that in crimes involving virtual property, the amount of the crime needs to be determined by analyzing the commodity value and financial value of the virtual property. There are many limitations in the current way of determining the value of virtual property in online games. The reason is that there are various types of online games, and the types of virtual property in online games are even more so, and different types of virtual property have different ways of obtaining and functioning, as well as different tradability. This paper adapts a qualitative research methodology focusing on the literature relating to the identification of market value of virtual property in online games. This paper reads and analyzes the existing materials. It discovers the sufferings faced by China in the process of determining the market value of virtual property in online games, and possesses appropriate ways of determining the market value according to the different types of virtual property in online games. To solve the dilemma faced by the value determination of virtual property in online games, the underlying logic of the acquisition of property attributes by virtual property in online games should be analyzed from the value generation theory. Therefore, the property nature of virtual property does not derive from the data code itself that generates the virtual item, but from the exchange and transaction of real money. On the basis of traditional classification, online-game virtual property can be divided into three categories from the way of acquisition. The first category is the virtual items generated by the game software program itself. For example, virtual tokens, game props, and so on, which are generated by online game operators through computer codes and have not entered into the field of trading. The second category is virtual property directly purchased by game users with money, with real currency, such as various virtual tokens, and the game dress-up purchased through real money. The third category is the tradable virtual property obtained by game users through online play, such as game props obtained by game users in the process of leveling up the game or collecting materials for making game props. By analyzing the correspondence between these three types of online game virtual property and real money, analyzing the source of their value and exploring ways to quantify them in real money, a framework for determining the value of online game virtual property can be initially established. For the value of the virtual property generated by the game software program itself should be determined according to the amount of stolen goods sold by the suspects. Virtual items purchased by game users refer to virtual properties, such as virtual tokens such as Q coins or other paid props, purchased by users from online games operators whose prices are relatively stable and whose value does not change as a result of the user's behavior. Therefore, the market value of such virtual property should be determined by the amount of money invested by the game users. Virtual items acquired by game users in the course of online play refer to virtual property, such as equipment and weapons in the game, obtained by game users from online game operators or other players and upgraded after processing. For this kind of virtual property, they can be traded among game players. Many online game virtual property trading platforms have been spawned due to the demand for trading among groups of players, and thus the trading of this kind of virtual property has formed a stable market, and its market value is relatively stable. Uh, Finally, at present, in the face of more and more kinds of online game virtual property, the lack of legislation makes China's online game virtual property value determination is still facing many problems. Therefore, the source of value of online game virtual property must be differentiate according to the complexity of the type of virtual property and set up the value determination mechanism respectively. For online game virtual property of different value sources, put forward targeted different value determination is conducive to the realization of our current judicial practice of fairness and justice. Thank you.